Hey guys, this is Earth Waters with Howling at the Earth. Please check me out on howlingattheearth.com as well as Howling at the Earth on YouTube. Today I am with Brother Baruti from the Source Seeker Hour. I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Baruti Carl Alexander, the source seeker, means I seek after the answers. I seek after what is deep. I seek after the understanding, the better way, the opportunity. I just seek source seeker. Thank you.
Awesome. Today, guys, we're going to be discussing some sensitive discussions based on some sensitive men, emotions, how women react to men that show emotions, and so on. We're just gonna kind of yes.
Uh, since we brought up sensitive men, can we talk about dramatic women that cause problems in a situation? Maybe sometimes men don't want to get involved with these particular women because they go out of their way to cause controversy.
As you can see, this is because I know that probably touched some of the women's buttons, especially when you use the word or the term dramatic. Okay, so we're gonna get into it, guys. So back to you. Okay. From what I'm hearing or understanding, that sometimes dramatic women can bring out certain
No,
emotions.
no.
Okay, what are you saying?
What I'm saying is, women sometimes don't know the place that they're going with this conversation. For instance, they'll go and curse at somebody and then expect the man to come in and clean it up when the other people get mad at him and so forth. Things like that. Whereas, you know, the man won't necessarily, now some men will, but the man won't necessarily seek out a controversy. Because women are more emotional, a lot of times they go on feelings and emotions. Somebody cut them off on the street, they'll yell, they'll bunk a horn. The man will say, well, that ain't nothing big to get all upset about.
Okay.
I've seen that the women in my life, they honk a horn, they yell and scream at the people.
So they cursing with the horn. F you, mother.
All of this kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, but that's not something for me to get all upset about and to possibly cause a controversy. So that's what I'm talking about. I've
Okay.
seen that so many times.
Okay, so is it that women are the ones that shows more emotion? Because you say women are more emotional. Is it that they're more emotional, or is it that they show more emotions than a man? Because men can be emotional, they just don't show it.
By our nature, men are less emotional, most men, than a woman. I mean, just the way we're created.
Is that all men, or is it certain groups of men, or
That's most men. Now we're not talking about the LGBT community or the transgender community. We're not talking about those. We come from a culture of, we are taught from an early age, you know, men are supposed to be strong. You send me a picture about the young boy crying, I'll give you something to cry about. You see it.
right?
Whereas boys start to embed that. They start to say, okay, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna be stronger. I'm gonna be. So it's a goal that they have to be stronger and not show emotion. Now, a lot of times it goes way too far in the context that, you know, because you got to have some expression. You got to have some expression
I
to be
agree.
able to let some of that out. That's why men have so many ulcers. That's why they don't go to the doctor as much. They say we're supposed to take all of this in, and so it's a false culture, a false pride that's put there. But at the same time, women like that also.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very big factor in why we do it, because the expectation of women is that we, like the picture showed, that was the mothers telling the boy, I'll give you something to cry about, don't be a crybaby and all of this kind of stuff. Whereas, so they start believing that and so forth. So the women a lot of times encourage that type of behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a dichotomy, because on the one hand, you want them to be strong, but then on the other hand, you want them to express themselves. And you can't have both of them. Normally, now some men can find balance, but it's very difficult to kind of, you know, do that paradox with both sides of the thing. So now, me personally, I have understood that for me to be healthy, I got to be honest with myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I've gotten to the point where I'm not as concerned with an image. And that's what we're talking about, an image. Because some men will go and cry all alone, but make sure nobody else sees them.
Right.
Women do that too, though.
Right.
Yeah. But women, and most men, when they get older, or they don't, and it's changing a little bit today, most men don't go and talk to their buddies about their pain and where women do that. Women will go and talk to their girlfriend about their pain and what's going on. Most men don't do that, but it's changing a little bit. Well, maybe for those particular communities
Okay.
that I mentioned earlier.
Right. So, and I guess I can agree to, women do have that circle of people that they can speak to about certain things, whether they're getting the right feedback or not. They do have someone to go to, and that made me think of your spirit circle that you guys do. Why is it that men are kind of hesitant about speaking about certain things that they do have problems with, or it does become, like emotional or whatever? Why is it that they feel like they can't
I
speak
give you
to someone about it?
a very good example. I had what I thought was a very good friend, and I used to admit, hey, I'm depressed. Hey, I cry at home and so forth. So I knew this person for years, and we were like we were the only black people at this particular job for a while. So we bonded, I believe. Then I loaned her money, or she kept some money for me, and when I needed it, she would give it back. A whole lot of things that would happen and so forth. But over time, because I opened up to her, she thought that's all that I was.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I have found that it's hard for women to see different facets of a man. So if you show that emotion of, I can be weak, I can be, I can be hurt. If you show that, they'll take that as who you are.
Right.
And men start to understand that. They start to, well, I'm not going to show you that side of me.
Mm-hmm.
So we start to understand that there are only certain pictures I can show you because you can't handle the truth.
Right. And we talked about this before, but we have some women that even when a man decides, you know what, I'm gonna show this woman this part of me, and in return, what they have been getting is you're weak. You're not a man. You're PUSSY. You're all these things besides a man. And I think in those cases that we often forget that men are human. We see them as this strong, mighty, no emotion. You don't, you're not supposed to show them or whatever. We don't see them as just being just true men, and those that are showing that side of them, are we embracing that? Because not like you said, not all men are doing that. So as a woman, I'm thinking, other sisters, are we actually embracing that part of our men?
A big problem today is the culture and the images and the identities, the confusing images. That's why we have so many young brothers with an identity crisis. They don't know whether it's okay to be a strong boy. It's okay to show emotion. If they show emotion, are they going to be gay? Or is it okay to be gay? Or is it okay to be in the middle of both sides and so forth and so on? And it's not as much real moral fiber trying to say what is good, what is the best way as far as building your identity.
Right.
And we used to have a lot more of that, but the images from every television show has somewhere two men kissing, two men doing this, two men doing that. We didn't have that 10 years ago.
Right.
That is a big factor in this confusion that's going on with especially black young men, black boys. And, I saw out there near downtown in Houston, Texas, I saw so many young men out there. So many young men, that threw me away that there's so many, I'm talking about 20 years old out homeless on the street. And it's a contributing factor that these young brothers don't know which way to turn.
Right.
And it's, you have to have the discipline and the direction to go through a process. There's no other way. You got to go through some kind of process, or somebody has to help you have a foundation. And it's really no other way. And, so many young men want instant gratification, and they may not have a father or a significant guiding figure to help them go through the process, to help them understand when they have that fire and those emotions. Hey, you got to calm that down.
Right.
You got to calm that down and go through the process, because you're not just going to beat somebody over the head and get everything that you want. You might for a second, but that's going to catch up with you, and you still ain't built no foundation. And if you don't have a foundation in this world, you don't have nothing to hold on to. You don't have nothing to undergird you when things get tough. You're looking for your next instant gratification here, your next instant gratification there. So that's the difficulty. That's the problem. The images and the processes, they are not aligned. And so that's my thing. How can we help these young brothers to understand they got to go through a process? The process is available. I have a 22-year-old son, so I think about these things all the time. And, he's off in college now, which was a great accomplishment. But we just starting on the path.
Right.
And it can change tomorrow, because there's so much on these young brothers' head. So it's difficult. Now, as far as the ladies, they going through the same thing. I got two daughters, but they going through the same thing to want instant gratification, but they are also looking at the young brothers, and they trying to find something to connect with also.
Right.
They trying to find something to connect with, so it's very difficult. And I would tell all the young ladies, you want somebody who's willing and able to go through a process, who's willing and able and understands what a foundation is. And, it's not about the image and what people see. It's what you build that you can hold on to, and that you can develop that, and you can grow in this. So we don't have enough of foundation building, foundation teaching. And that's a lot of the problem. So a part of what I'm trying to do within my own circle, within myself and those around me, is build a foundation, and then try to strengthen that foundation, what I call circles. Build a circle and connect with other circles and grow from that perspective.
My question is, where do you think the mix-up happened with younger generations not knowing how to build that foundation? I know you mentioned like the LGBT agenda that's over every website, TV show, movie, all of that. Um, are we allowing media to teach the younger generation, or is it something at home that they missed, or is it the ones our age on up just not teaching anymore? Because it goes beyond just teaching your children. Anytime you go out and you have that opportunity to teach, whether if it's a cousin or a friend or a stranger, or are we still teaching or walking in that path of this is what it is?
It's all of the above, but we are inundated with all of these images. We're inundated with all of these pressures, all these peer pressures, all these cultural pressures, much more so than even when we were young. Much more so today, because you got social media, you got every kind of social media site. We can't even count how many social media sites there are.
Right.
And when I was coming up, we didn't have that. So it's so many particular things that are coming at our kids today. But we have a decline in the black church. You have to say that, because not as many, and of course that was the foundation of the black community.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that as much today as we had back in the day. Everybody depended upon, or they had an undergirding from the black church. Not everybody, but it was a very big foundation of our community. We don't have that as much. And of course, TV has always been there, but TV, I mean, how many streaming platforms? I mean, I can't even name them all.
Right.
Hulu, Plateau, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
I mean, I can't even name them all. I mean, I got them on my TV, but I have never watched 90% of them. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, so, but at the same time, we have to adjust to this new paradigm. We have to adjust to this new paradigm with all of these things, because our kids are going to, if we want to have some impact with our kids, maybe we should know who Moneybag Yo is.
Okay.
Maybe we should know who Moneybag Yo is. You know, maybe we got to. I remember when I was, just getting married, and I had a stepson and I had a young son, and Tupac was out there, and I said, "Who is this Tupac?" Mm-hmm. So forth, so on, and I said, "Oh, he ain't nothing. He's a rapper. They ain't nothing." And then he got shot the first time, and it got bigger and bigger. I still didn't pay attention. Mm-hmm. But once, toward the end of his life, I started paying attention a little bit. Then after he passed, I really started paying attention. And then I started looking at his words. I said, whoa, okay.
Yeah. So
there are things out there, and we can't just say we counsel that or we counsel that. We got to listen and try to find some commonality, try to find something that makes sense. For instance, Kanye West, a lot of people discount him. They say, "Oh, he's a fool, this, that, and the other," but he's a billionaire. Some say he's a billionaire. You can't discount no billionaires. You can't discount him.
Especially being black.
No, you can't discount him.
You can't do that.
So you got to pay attention to what they're saying. You got to pay attention to what Jay-Z is saying.
Right.
You got to pay attention to, because those are the influencers today.
Flies running me crazy.
I understand, but it's all good. It's all good. This is a part of the world that we live in. And we keep on seeking. We keep on trying. We keep on trying to understand. So, as far as our men, why they show a little bit of emotion, I have seen myself, if I do a whole lot of talking and expressing, people won't pay attention as much. But if I don't talk as much, but when I do talk, I have something to say, people pay attention more.
Okay. I can dig it. I can dig that.
That's a simple, but have something to say when it's your time to speak.
Right.
You know, don't just be, repeating what somebody else said, or don't just be talking for the sake of talking. You know, intelligence is valued still.
Mm-hmm.
Intelligence is valued still. And I was doing the show the other day, and they were talking about how, as black people, we need to be upfront. And I said, yeah, that's good, but sometimes being the one who's producing it and who you never see
Mm-hmm.
is just as powerful, or if not more powerful.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
there's a lot of different ways to have influence and to make things happen. And that is what you have to do. How can you make things happen? How can you get people to see what you got going on?
Mm-hmm.
How can you, and it's not just the loudest voice. You know, I've seen many brothers, you see them with the car, their music is blaring everywhere, and they want everybody to pay attention to them. You know, but how about the person that comes every day with their car, but their bills are paid, they have a foundation behind them, and you can tell that they are comfortable in themselves. They're not trying to seek your attention.
Right.
They are comfortable in themselves because they have built a foundation. What is a foundation? A foundation is something that can last. You know, like this table that we have. This table could last for many, many, many years and not wither away. So you want something that can last, that has some type of bond and strength that maybe your grandkids can take part in. So that's what I think is very important. That's why men don't show as much, especially if they are okay within themselves. They don't necessarily have to show emotion, but you know, guys a lot of times get caught up, and women are very good at getting under a guy's skin and provoking him, an immature man, but it's capable of any man now. I mean, because it certainly happened to me before. But you know, once you are okay with yourself a little bit more, you don't draw into those situations where you can get provoked. Now, you have to ask, why does the ladies believe that that's a good thing to do, to provoke a man? It may be, they say, that they can persuade him by provocation.
Are we confusing the term emotions, thinking that it's when a guy is crying or sad, or because emotions can be a wide range of things, but even if it's
He can
you
be
know
angry.
yeah, it can be anger, it could be um, anything, but I me and just experience, I think some women confuse emotions with a man being affectionate, um, or have, let me take that back, it plays a role in them not showing too
Let me,
affection.
let me ask a question and go toward a statement in a way. I think the ladies look at the image of their father, but also the images that they see from the TV as the two main factors. Or it used to be the preacher was one of those also, but we don't have that as much.
Mm-hmm.
But the main factors are the father, and then the TV are a lot of the roles. And of course, the mother and how she has interpreted those things to the daughter.
Right, right, right.
So,
Yes.
and as we get more fragmented as a people, mothers don't have husbands and all of that kind of stuff, and we're more fragmented as families, and so our people are going to get more fragmented and confused and searching for identity. So that's what's going on across the board. And the Countel program and all the other programs were set up to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you go back to the 60s and go back to the Monahan report, where they said, we're going to have two communities, one black and one white. It's going to take millions and billions of dollars to pump up this community. So if you're not gonna pump it up, what you're gonna do? You're gonna have to tear it down and keep it at bay and keep black men in check.
Right.
So
All right, guys, we're back with Howling at the Earth, the hate movement. And I'm here with Brother Baruti with the Source Seeker Hour, Brighter Source Group. I mean, man of many hats. Um, so we're here with the topic, men and emotions.
first part we talked about emotions and do women encourage of the emotions, and I think it's all a big basket. Yes, and the women, men come from the inside the woman's womb, of course, and so we get those nurturing things. So they are there, but then we come out and we understand that okay, I'm supposed to have a certain image. I'm supposed to have a certain strength. Now we are different. Men are different. We have different body parts and different ways that they work. So, and then our minds thinking in a different way. And sometimes the story says men are from Mars, women are from Venus, or vice versa, whatever that is. So some of that is true, but we all get um, we get taught by the world a certain way to behave, and as black people, we get taught a certain way different from other races, uh, other cultures. So that's a part of it also. As human beings, there's certain standards, but then as an ethnic tribe, there's certain things also. And I want to talk about one thing about that. Um, the LGBT community has, in certain cases, came off as bullying. The Kevin Hart situation, you know, people were upset with him by saying that he didn't want his son to be gay and he would, you know, whoop him up and so forth. He has a right to say that. He's a father.
Yeah.
You know, Genuine said that, hey, I don't want to kiss a transgender. He has a right to say that. That's his own being. He has a right to say that. I have a right to say that I don't necessarily want to be hanging out or around those, you know. I mean, I have nothing against them, and I can be friends with them, but that's not my area of who I would like to hang out with. You know, that's my preference. So I think it's too much bullying from that perspective, and it should be okay if you don't necessarily like that lifestyle. I don't want to have that lifestyle around you, and you know, normalize it around yourself. I want to give this story. We was on our way to Memphis, and I was at the fast food restaurant, and you know, I was at the window with my family, and the lady came on the intercom and asked what we want. She said, "Oh, okay, yeah." I said, "All right." And then I got up there. I was going through my money. Wasn't even looking up. Then I looked up. It was a guy with a beard, dark skinned brother with a beard, and he had that same voice. So certain things, you know, are, and I think the world has gotten so abnormal in so many ways. But I got to be careful with that word because you know, when you say abnormal, somebody could say that, you know, just so many black people is abnormal and so forth. So I'm just going to say it's gotten so different. It's gotten so different. But the common thing is everybody does have a right to live. Even the LGBT community, or the transgender community, everybody has a right to live. We don't necessarily have a right to promote in everybody else's space.
Yeah.
And to say that because one person doesn't want to accept our way, that they should be ostracized. So we don't necessarily have to have that right and so forth. So I just wanted to say that. But as far as men and women, it's always been a battle. It's always been a battle, and it will continue to be a battle. It just now has so many cultural things that are impacting us, which has always been the case. But you know, you just triple and quadruple the amount of things that are coming at us, and it's so difficult. And so you know, you have situations where uh, some women got to have a bright-skinned man. Some men got to have a big butt woman. They don't feel right unless they got those type of things. Uh, some ladies got to have a professional athlete, or if they're not gonna feel okay or human if they don't have this particular kind of mate, and that certainly limits them. That certainly makes it where it sets them up for a destructive possible relationship if you limit the type of person that you could be mates with. You know, if I said only a lady my height could only be the only one I could be with, then that would limit the tall ladies and so forth. So, you know, you never know who is going to be that particular person that you can, because relationships are very hard. Relationships are very hard. So I think you can't limit. You have to see if you can have a commonality, and you see whether you can have something in common. Do you like travel? Do you like writing? Do you like debating? Do you like? Are you comfortable going online together? Do y'all like to go to the library together? Do y'all like to go look at the stars together? So many different things, because relationships are very hard. Uh, and can you first love yourself?
Yeah,
That's the main thing.
that is true. Going back to, you know, the LGBT movement, I believe they're trying to normalize it as much as possible, which is okay. Like you said, you are who you are, but I think they're pushing it so far to where they want us to accept it, and then you have a group of people that came up in an era where no, it's not right. They disagree with it. Not saying that they don't, you know, like, not saying that they don't,
I think
they're not adjusting or adapting to it. They just don't accept that to be the right way of living.
the thing is when you promoting it. Now, if what you do, of course, under your own roof is your business, but when you are promoting it, when it's on every TV show, when it's on, you know, in the books, and they saying it's okay. I mean, when you go there, you are promoting it. You are trying to give a slant, and not making it okay to not be okay with it. I mean, that's my thing. It's okay to not be okay with it.
Right, right.
And when you say that that's a wrong standpoint, you're not giving me my right to say, well, I don't. I want to live this way. I'm not hurting anybody with my way of living. And if you're not hurting nobody with your way of living, I'm okay with that. But let me live like I like to live also, and don't condemn me.
Right, right. Also going back with, you know, you're saying how the relationships are hard. So I believe, I agree. I want to say I first agree to everything that you're saying, because all of the things that you mentioned is basically saying just communicate and really get to know this person before going into a, you know, putting that title of a relationship on that, because then as soon as you put that title with relationships and you're my man, you're my woman, the expectations change.
I think one of the biggest things is you got to be okay with yourself first,
right.
And then y'all ease into it, both from a standpoint of, hey, I'm okay with myself and I'm okay with you.
Mm-hmm.
And you know,
and that takes time.
And we're not
Not trying to
pressure nobody into nothing. We just want to live our lives and share each other's company. And I'm not putting no big, you got to do this, you got to do that. No.
Right.
I'm trying to live my life and you trying to live your life, and then we find a way we can have common ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, we still come from a lustful mindset. We still come from a material mindset. And we see those things and we let those things color, what we are trying to achieve, what we are trying to get. And, if you start from yourself, hey, I'm okay with myself, I like myself, and I'm okay with you sharing company with me, or we sharing company together because we have some common things and we like some common things. But when you start saying, hey, uh, I can get with him or I can get with her, or she can help pay my car note, I can get with them, I can get me some good stuff and tell my boys about it.
Right. Right.
You
right.
know.
Right.
When you start getting into that image game,
Mm-hmm.
and the world, the culture, the TV, all the platforms take you to that image game,
Yeah.
and that's where the problem lies, because we not first being okay with ourselves. We getting into competition. A part of our competition is who you with. Hey, say, man, look who I got with me, man. See,
Like
I'm
a trophy.
yeah, I'm a trophy. Women do it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Women do
yeah,
it too.
Definitely.
And men do. Men get taught early on in a lot of ways how many notches I can get, I can knock off. When I'm in seventh grade, I had 4 girlfriends, and that was a big thing.
Yeah.
You know, but why is that a big thing? What does it really do for you to have all of these trophies and so
But
forth?
see, it goes back. It goes back to what are we being taught at home about men and women? Whether it's a young boy, are we actually sitting down and being taught about women growing up, young boys? Are we really being taught about men? Because I saw my parents, together 27 years, but I never had the opportunity to sit down with my mom to say, hey, this is how you treat a man. This is what men expect from you. We never had that rundown. So I found myself when I got older trying to figure out how to treat a man, how to talk to a man, how to deal with a man when they do show emotions,
and
all of this.
And it's really can't be considered just a monogamous, one single, one standard way. There can be many different particular ways according to the man and according to the woman.
Right.
So that's why you have to start with yourself. This is what I like. This is who I am. And then you can find some commonalities that y'all can meet halfway.
Right. I agree.
And that's the hardest thing, because we are so much into a materialistic and an image standpoint. And I mean, I say 90% of the way relationships kind of are formed are 90% from that particular perspective. Only when you really get mature in yourself can you say, hey, I'm looking for a friendship, a partnership. I'm looking for somebody that can be a help me to help me to be better to reach my goals. And I want to help her reach her goals. And that's a hard thing. Now, the physical can be an inspiration with that, but without the foundation, you really don't have nothing. So you really got to find a way to have both. I'm not discounting the physical relationship. That's important too, but without the foundation, you're really just spinning your wheels and so forth, and you'll still be without that spirit, that strength, that bond. So what we're talking about is a hard thing, though.
Yes, so we're talking about relationships, we're talking about emotions and men, how women respond. We're talking about the LGBT community and its agenda. being raised at home, what we're being taught. I mean, we're just going, we're just running it down, guys. So,
I wanted to say, I still had this conversation with my daughter, who she's 4 feet tall, but she thinks it's okay to try to be a bully. And she tries to do this with boys, try to find boys that, will that'll appeal to. And it may work for a little bit, but if you really got a boy or one that's trying to be a man, that's always going to come in conflict, because a part of our soul is a hard edge. I remind people, men willingly go to war and kill. And we got that hard edge. And, I always tell people about the movie, I forgot, Last Temptation of Christ, or one of those, where the men, they saw him get stripped and beaten and so forth, and they thought that was a good part of the movie. Women, every woman I have ever talked to has hated that movie.
yeah,
that
it
part.
was horrible.
Yes.
It was horrible.
Because we have a certain nature that we are okay with the dirt and the grime and all of those things. We got that hard edge. And, that's a part of our soul. And the woman, she has that soft part, that part that likes the flowers, that likes those nice things. But see, we are susceptible because we want those nice things around us to help our hard edge.
So it balances.
Yes.
The woman balances out the man.
Yes.
In every way, in every aspect.
It's possible.
Yeah, I agree. I think
it's possible.
I think
that. I mean, you're going to the higher power. You're going to God in the way He created it. So yes, it's possible. But she can also disrupt his nature so much where he will tear up everything around him.
Well,
but
that
the
goes
man
back
can,
to the foundation, though.
That does.
It goes back.
The man can do that to the woman too. And
Exactly.
Let me say this, people. Women can be bad, just as bad as a man. I'm not saying that. And there's more of them out there. More men are incarcerated. More women are free, and they can cause much more havoc. So.
Guys, I really want to thank my brother for coming on to the hate. Y'all can't see my shirt. Okay. Really want to thank my brother for coming out and being a part of this hate movement. It has really, it helped me. It really did. So I want to say thank you.
And I just want to say we look forward to my sister howling at the earth on the Soul Seeker Hour, Earth Waters. We're looking for that. October 21st?
Yes, October 21st, and then November
14th.
We have shows coming up, guys.
Yes.
So please stay.
Same subject.
Yes.
Because this is a big subject that we're talking about.
Stay
powerful, stay strong.
Powerful, and stay watching. I need y'all to keep watching, Howling at the Earth. Look for my brother Baruti Alexander, Facebook, Instagram.
Just Google the name Baruti Carl Alexander and see what comes up.
It's there, guys. So, anything you want to add or say before we close out?
Peace and power. Be strong. It's a beautiful thing.
Keep howling at the earth. Peace.